It's Monday, January 27th. Quick one-up video for you wonderful ladies and gentlemen. Market was down quite a bit today. It started in the overnight session and then bled into the regular trading hour session, but we did wind up rallying and closing pretty much near the highs. So what caused this? The media was going on about the DeepSeek overtaking OpenAI and how cheap it was and the worry that NVDA chips would no longer be used. My guess is that this Chinese startup for DeepSeek got a hold of the newer chips and they're not admitting it. They probably bought it through foreign means. A lot of people don't know this, but the SR-71 stealth spy plane was bought in the guise of buying oven parts through Italy, and the Russians supplied it and we used it for our spy plane. It wouldn't surprise me to see something like that happen here with the NVIDIA chips and or for them to hide the true cost. I think the reason the futures cascaded, though, was because we were coming in from all-time highs with a gap down and a VIX at the lower end of the range, so the way to hedge longs is to short futures. I think the selling begot selling, and it spiraled into this reach for protection in the overnight session, illiquid markets in Sunday night, and you saw it got bought back up in the Monday session. I mean, banks were pretty strong today. They closed near the highs. As far as the VIX goes, we took a run at the range high. We didn't quite make it up into the 23s, which I do think is a little bit telling, and we did close near the lows, back below trend. The bears here need to get it over 1936 and hold. Anything below there, I think, is sideways to lower in VIX. Above is sideways to higher. With regard to the futures, we overshot the 50% fib. There was excess in the morning, but it wasn't really in an RTH session, and we were able to get back up over and then hold 59.93.75 to 59.94, and then we continued. And in the overnight session, we are teetering into that key range that we've discussed between 60.37.5 and 60.50.75. That is now the must hold. Anything below there, I think, could retest the 59.94. If we stay above it, we probably will mosey on up to the 6100 level. I have alerts set over high of day from the RTH session over 60.59.75 and in the Qs over 21,418.75. If those trigger, I think we have a cup and handle bottom and we could keep going up. In the Qs, we'd probably be targeting 21,572, and then after that, 21,779 quarter. With regard to SPY, we had that look above and fail with the Friday close above the 609.07. We had the gap down today. We got a little bit below the 61.8, not quite to the 20 MA, and we did close over the 50 MA. I think you can use that 50 MA now at 597.22 as a stop. Anything below there to me gets bearish. If you pull back to there, it could be a right or right out by the dip. If that fails, the 20 MA is just below where we were today. I don't know that that would hold. The gap fill from 116 is 591.64, and if that were to fail, I think we could be targeting the gap fill down at 582.19, which was from 114. I don't necessarily know that we for sure get there, but I don't know that we don't. Generally, after we've had a look above and fail, we tend to rotate down to the range low. I can make the argument that it's 580.91, or I can make the argument it's 575.35. If you want to do some kind of a put spread or a put spread overwrite, I'm good buying 600, selling 580 with an overwrite down near 565 or 560, which is closer to the 200 MA. If you want to go longer dated, maybe something into the 540s. With regard to the Qs, Apple had actually came alive today with some strength. I think that this was the rotation. We saw other big cap tech names getting sold. Some of that money went into the safety of Apple. And I think also the fact that you can download DeepSeek, and it was #1 in the App Store, started to make Apple a DeepSeek play. Also, Apple has been looking for a Chinese partner for domestic AI. And now maybe they can put that in. In the US, they're using ChatGPT. And I think Gemini also will have some integration, at least in the future. And then in China, maybe they will use the DeepSeek, which I've been playing around with, and it is quite spectacular. I think it is actually a little bit better than ChatGPT. Not to say that ChatGPT is bad, because that and Gemini have the speak to text function, and it can talk back to you. But DeepSeek doesn't quite have that yet. I would expect they will get it. But I find the answers a little bit more rich, and I guess it has a little bit of a different tone to it. It may be a little bit more toward the creators. As far as Qs go, I think it's super simple. If the bulls can get it up over high of day here at 517.99, we probably rotate to 524.08, and then we'd see, and maybe we'd even fill in the gap here to 529.63. If we lose the low of day at 510.15, I think we're coming down to the 505.08, which is the 114 gap fill, and likely to the 100 MA. So somewhere between 500 and 501.22, and then we'd see there. Generally, I'm not sure how this is going to play out. They did buy up the dip, but I think if we do start holding price down here, price starts accepting within today's range and even breaking it to the downside, this could be a pro gap leading to a little bit of a larger correction than we've seen lately. TLT was actually up today nicely. We've been long. I had said as long as it holds the 10 and 20 MA, I've been targeting the 50 MA, which would be roughly around the breakdown level at 89.55. If we were to do the full Monty, did the downtrend, we'd be at 91.57 if we did it tomorrow. Dollar has also been a bit of a tailwind for the bulls, although it did not get that today. Anything that remains over 107.587 to me is a little bit more iffy. I'd prefer it below there. And if we start accepting price back up over 108.071, I think that we could make the run to the 20 MA up at 108.587, and then we'd see. It didn't really make sense to me that Bitcoin was getting smashed in the overnight, but hey, they all went down. It held the 50 MA like a boss, so I think that that is our key pass don't pass line, currently 98,185. I like it as long as we remain over that 100,000-ish level. Anything over there to me is fine. Below starts getting a little bit more iffy. Speaking of Apple, we had talked about buying the dip in the 219s and 220s. I do like booking gains into the 230s. We talked about that today. I have an alert over the 232.16 high of day. If that were to clear, we could make a move back up to the 237.49-ish area, and then we'd see. Shorter term, I'd be taking profits at 234.94, which would be the 38.2, and then I'd probably be out fully around 239.74, which is the 50% retracement. Tesla had been a big bull stock into the end of the year. Today we held the 50 MA, so keep it super simple. Bulls need to clear the 20 MA at 410.77, and the bears need to break 392.16, which is the 50 MA, and then low of day at 389 for a pullback to that 358.64 breakout retest. NVDA, which got a lot of hate today, held the 200 MA area, but we did close below there, and we did close a little bit below the 50% fib, so bulls will need to get over 121.79, and they could check back to the 129.51, and then we'd see. If we do keep going, the 114.45 is the 61.8, and then a full pennant fill could be down to 100.95. I do think that that 100 to 104 level, and then maybe even down into the 90s, would be a buy the dip. I actually had the luxury of coming in today short with NVIDIA with a 1/2 put ratio. The big risk for me is if this keeps coming down too hard, too fast, but it is generally going my way. I'm long the 112, short the 100 out in March. I'll be looking to book that though. I've had some nice time decay in there, and if we do get a little bit more follow-on to the downside, I'd probably be looking to book it with another couple of down days. We should get a bounce here. It'll be very curious to see if we can hold the 200 MA. I see actually in the after hours we're a little bit above it. So super simple. Bulls need to hold that 121.76 to 121.79. Above can continue bouncing. Below probably continues dumping. Generally speaking, I think we had a nice liquidation break today. It was probably not so unexpected given the fact that we had closed in the lower end of the VIX range. Traders weren't hedged. We saw that acceleration as they chased the short in the futures. And now maybe traders put back on some of those hedges, although it didn't really end that way with regard to the VIX. I think that 1936 is a key pass don't pass line in the VIX, and I think today's range is going to be key. Inside of it, to me, would remain bearish because prices would be accepting lower. Below it is obviously still more bearish, and then above it we can start trying to fill the gap, at least 50% from the high to today's gap low. Also, I'm continuing the special, sign up for the super follower subscriber, and if you're already and you don't already have the premium service, I'm offering a free month. Just DM me and I'll set that up for you. Like and follow for more.